Nicholas Farber has been found. He's the kid who was taken away by two masked gunmen in the middle of the night out of Palm Desert a few days ago. And the chief suspect was the mom, the five-time married Deborah Rose, the drug addict, the stripper, the mentally unstable whack job.
Apparently has a lot of last names to pick from.
Yeah, well, when you have five husbands, you got a whole array of identities. And they found, as you probably heard in the news, an RV was parked in a San Diego County motorhome park.
Actually, near the border.
Yeah. And
they found little Nicholas inside along with Deborah Rose and an unidentified man who they think could have been one of the abductors.
Maybe the sixth husband.
Or maybe she doesn't. Maybe she does.
She might have been, yeah, but
they got a tip that the vehicle had entered the RV park. It came in about noon, and by 1 o'clock, they had everybody. What they're still looking for is this friend of Deborah Rose, Carla Bender, her former roommate, who they think may have had something to do with the abduction, too. She's still on the list.
Now, they cut the kid's hair and dyed it.
Yeah.
And Deborah Rose dyed her hair, too. So they tried to change their identities, but what you have to do is you got to change the car or the motorhome that you drive.
Yeah.
They didn't do that because now with this Amber Alert system going on and all the TV and radio stations and the highway signs blasting descriptions of the cars and the make and the model and the license plate, you're going to get nailed.
Well, one of the original vehicles they were looking for was an extended cab pickup truck, but they found that in Prim, Nevada yesterday. So how did they know about this RV home? Terry Ray, do you know?
No, I don't know how they knew about the motorhome, but earlier this morning they had traced the plates, and the motorhome actually belonged to an aunt of Deborah Rose who lived in Laguna Niguel, and they hauled her away this morning.
Yeah, the highway signs were flashing the motorhome's license plate.
Yeah, I just wonder how they got onto that motorhome.
Yeah, well, I guess somebody...
because, you can't really get away in that kind of a thing.
No, you can't hide in the motorhome.
You can't hide. You can't change the color of it very...
No, and it was
change the plates maybe, but they had the plates, and that's how they got the tip around 12 noon that it was in this motorhome.
Where's the description?
Of what?
Yeah, here. All right, now how do you hide in this kind of vehicle? 32-foot, tan Bounder motorhome with orange striping and images of a kangaroo on both sides.
Florida license plate, too, that stands out.
That's right. So you got a Florida plate, you got kangaroos painted on the side of your motorhome.
It's a real nondescript vehicle.
Did you see her booking picture? In the Press Enterprise booking
that's
picture.
a hard-looking woman.
Deborah Rose. She looks like, it's a Tanya Harding thing all over again.
She's been around. How did she get all these husbands, though?
You said she worked in a strip club or something?
Yeah, it was one of her most recent jobs.
Is that all you need to hear?
I guess yeah.
I don't think she's unattractive if she's cleaned up.
No, if she takes a bath, no.
38, so.
No, she's not unattractive.
She's kind of on the later side of being a stripper person.
Yeah. She's in her final years.
Yeah.
So,
that's good news, though. I mean, I didn't expect the kid would be hurt. Except they changed his hair, you said.
Right. All right. But, no, he's fine. I mean, that's why there wasn't like a great urgency about this. You just figured the mom was going to be driving around with the kid for a while. Got another
we got a missing child at a Bakersfield.
Another mother case here. 9-year-old girl abducted by her mother, according to police, who has a history of mental problems. The little girl's name is Sierra Walden, taken at 4:10 Thursday afternoon during a supervised visit with her mother at the Kern County Department of Human Services. And you know how they pulled this off? How this crazy mom pulled this off? She said she wanted to show the little girl the new puppy that she had in the car.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
She did this in front of the social worker. She fooled the social worker with the puppy story.
Oh, well.
And then they ran off.
How many visits did she had with the kid where she hadn't pulled anything? I guess they trusted her for that second. This woman's name is Pamela Walden, 50 years old.
Apparently suffers from the kind of mental problems where she thinks people are trying to kill her daughter and that God is speaking to her through her daughter. So her brain is all fried. It's all gone.
She lost custody of the girl about a month ago following a dependency hearing. Was arrested August 21st for her own protection, but was released from a mental facility on Tuesday.
She got arrested for her own protection.
This is the blue Hyundai, John, that we saw on the Amber Alert sign.
We drove in together on the 101, and the 101 was suddenly jammed up for no reason. As everybody slowing down to read the sign, and it was this case. It was the blue Hyundai. I like this. The way the sergeant describes the case is like, the mom and the daughter left after her supervisor was distracted by the puppy story, apparently.
Says here a social worker accompanied them but was distracted by saying goodbye to visitors in the parking lot. This is according to the county's assistant director of child welfare.
wasn't too hard. The puppy story.
Well, one job for the day is to make sure this mental patient doesn't take off with her kid, and
the
you blew it.
And the social worker must have known that this lady's a mental patient, and God is speaking through her daughter. So how do you take your eye off that woman exactly to go see the puppy?
Well, this happened Thursday afternoon. They spotted her last night in Acton. A business owner told them that a woman matching the description of Pamela Walden locked herself out of her car last night, and Good Samaritans helped her recover her keys. She then got gas, food, and directions. She wanted to go to San Diego, Palm Desert, and Oregon.
If they're going to start,
she asked for directions to San Diego, Palm Desert, and Oregon. Well, that's different places. The impression she left them was that she was going to San Diego.
Two of the three places are involved in the Farber case too.
Yeah, you're right. Palm Desert, and San Diego.
What's with San Diego this year? San Diego used to be the quietest city in the world.
You're talking about Jahi Turner and
Danielle, and
now this lady goes down there with a little boy.
Are they going to start doing? Now are they going to start doing Amber Alerts on every custody battle?
And I always think, what's it with moms this week? It seems like dads do this.
Well, when you have a mom who's lost custody, you almost always have a complete whack job because moms almost never lose custody. At the very least, they get shared custody. But
they have mental problems or 5 husbands and a drug history.
Lots of drugs and they're stripping. That's usually what you have there. I mean, because it takes a hell of a lot for.
We could fill the phone lines up for the rest of the show with men who will tell you that's true, that the women always win.
Well, they almost always win.
So what you're saying is it has to be severe for the woman to lose.
Well, I mean, it's an admitted bias. Everybody who's involved in the family court justice admits that you have a huge mountain to climb as a dad if you want full custody. I mean, you really have to demonstrate that the mom is just an absolute danger to the child. And those are the most likely cases where you're going to have a backlash, and then the mom's going to try to kidnap the kid. Now, are we going to be doing Amber Alerts on every custody divorce case here? We are going to be stacked up with a lot of Amber Alerts. There's not going to be enough highway signs to cover all this. Because these stories...
This woman has mental problems that could be dangerous for the child, and that she may make a bad decision.
Right. But, I mean, this Bakersfield case, this is the kind of case that never would have been covered for even 10 seconds.
No?
Yeah, a mom running off with her own daughter from a child services center. Yeah, that would have been 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, but John, I mean, if she hears voices coming out of her daughter's ear.
I'm saying it's not worthy covering, but you just never used to do that. Yeah. Nobody would care. So how does she hear the voices? Do you know? Does she
There's a tip.
Does she have to hold up her ear to the child's head and she hears God's voice?
They didn't elaborate on that part.
You don't have that detail?
No, but she's with a chip in the daughter's ear, and God speaks to her through this.
Well, this is, we got to. I think we ought to spin off one of the stations in the chain here just to do Amber.
Here's an idea.
Yeah. Might get better ratings.
Your Amber Alert station.
That's right. Just have a 24-hour Amber Alert station. Because there's 725,000 missing children every year, so there's plenty of material for programming there. You cover 725,000 cases.
There you go.
Well, and as expected, most of them are custody fight cases, not stranger abduction, so that would be the bulk of the coverage.
You get comments from the stepfather.
Oh yeah, that's right. You get that's what the daytime TV shows are all about. Dysfunctional white trash families driving around in motorhomes, multiple marriages and drug addictions, and these kids are. I feel sorry for the kids because who wants to be kidnapped by your mom? Your crazy mom. It's just...
Well, the good news today is there's no baseball strike. What John and I both noticed, and I guess semi-enjoyed, is that the Angels fan, apparently, they trashed the field last night after the game against Tampa Bay. It was the last game scheduled before there could have been a strike. I was
driving around listening to the game on the radio last night. I was actually cheered to hear the fans throwing stuff on the field. And then I read in the paper this morning how the players were upset, and all the sports writers saying, well, of course you can't condone this sort of thing, and it was really ugly and disturbing. It's like, something, all the $3.5 billion that baseball makes comes from the fans. And those bozos were going to go on strike because they're not rich enough. They deserve to have a few batteries in the back of their head.
No, well, nobody wants to give back what they've gotten. That's kind of what happened.
Oh, they've got plenty, and they're always going to make more. And if they
somebody comes to you and tells you you make plenty. Because, compared to most people, we do pretty well. So what if people came to us and said, you guys make plenty?
I haven't gone on strike. I didn't go on strike.
You wouldn't then. You would give the money back.
They weren't being asked to give the money back. They were being asked that they wanted to put a salary cap, just have a limit. That $22 million a year might be all you can make in life. That's all.
They believe in the free market.
Nothing was going to be given back.
Why can't they principally believe in the free market? The owners want to pay it. Too bad.
Like they got salary caps in there.
Nobody holds a gun to their head.
Salary caps basketball and football.
Well, this might save the smaller city teams.
Yeah, otherwise you got the Yankees in the World Series every year for the rest of your life. That's no fun.
Why don't you like those big dominant teams, though?
Not the Yankees.
Some people are complaining the NFL is so much parity that it's a different team every year, and that's boring. I don't know. What do people want? What do you want? But it turns out I think one 10-year-old boy threw a ball back. I think he got a foul ball at the Angels game. He threw it back towards the man. He got ejected, but the fans cheered.
Oh, yeah.
The ushers had to take him out.
They ejected the kid. They're throwing toilet paper, all sorts of garbage out of the stands.
Where did they come up with toilet paper?
Well, I don't know. Somebody brought it. I don't know. Or maybe they brought it with them. Maybe it was a planned attack.
Well,
because last night
they were knowing they were the last game.
It was the last game, maybe, of the season, so the fans just decided to start.
Well, this team's doing well. I think it's the last place might be a saving.
The average salary is $2.5 million. Even if you're a piece of garbage, 25th player, rookie, last one called up from the minors, you were still making a minimum of $200,000. Which last I checked, it was, I think, 4 times the median family income in this country.
But they are a select group. I mean,
they're not
to
so
make it to Major League Baseball.
Well, that's not select anymore.
You know how many millions of guys try that don't make it? Select enough.
They can have their money, but to go on strike when they have that much money, that's just bad.
It's a very specific skilled job.
They're being a-holes. You're an a-hole. When you're making $2 million or $5 million or $10 million, you're going on strike. Oh, that's the thing. If it was just the guys making $200,000 going on strike, saying, "Hey, we're not making enough," that's one thing. But the guys who's making $25 million, he's going on strike too. Get out of here.
It's because it's a union. You stand by your buddies.
You got to stand by your buddies.
Same thing can happen to you someday. The radio strike.
I'm never going on strike for anybody. And every time there's some rumblings of the union discontent, I always tell people, you don't come near me for any strike nonsense. I'm crossing your line.
They're going to throw crap at you.
They can throw crap on me. I'll bring a baseball bat and whack them back as I'm crossing the line.
Call you a scab.
You can call me anything you want. Call me a scab, an infection, an abscess, a cancer, whatever you want. Don't come to me about no strike line.
We'll do our show from home.
I don't care about your problems. That's what it is. It's asking other people to care about their problems. No, I don't care about your problems. You don't make enough money, get a night job at Burger King. Don't give me your problems. Night job. You're not making enough money, get a second job. Go back to school.
All right. So that was it. It was 2 Amber Alerts today, and 1's taken care of.
Yes.
All right. That's the update on that.
All right. You got
maybe we're going to be the Amber Alert station. You never know.
Well, we are already.
I know, but I mean, maybe...
We're all Amber all the time.
Right, that'll be your job, John, is to come on and do all the kidnapping.
Anybody right now who's missing a kid, call in right now. Well, if your kid's lost in the neighborhood, you can't find him, call in. We'll just spend the whole afternoon taking care of any missing kids, any kid hiding in the closet. I got to take a break. Well, it reminded me of something. We'll take a break. It's the Johnny Ked Show here. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio.
KFI AM 640.
More stimulating talk radio.
Johnny Ked Show, John Cobell, Tim Champo, 334 on KFI. Coming
up next hour, we're going to talk about a 16-year-old kid in Florida who took a 6-pack of beer from a refrigerator in a woman's garage, and he ends up getting 10 years in jail from a judge. 10 years.
Mother was blown away, and she's going to be on with us next hour. She went into shock in the courtroom. She couldn't believe what she heard.
If you believe in being tough on juvenile crime, you may like what this judge did, but this lady coming on next hour is very upset over her son's sentence.
So we were talking about the Amber Alerts today. One kid found Michael Farber down in San Diego. They found the whack job mom.
But a 9-year-old girl in Bakersfield still missing.
Yeah, and she was...
and if you're driving on the freeways right now, you see that Amber Alert up there. That's about her.
By the way, can people read that Amber Alert sign and not slow down so traffic can keep moving on the freeway?
Well,
is that possible, people?
It just says blue Hyundai.
All right. How long does it take? You don't slow down for speed limit 55, right? Why are you slowing down for blue Hyundai? Look at the blue Hyundai sign as you're driving.
You want to help.
Clogging up traffic.
Although I think a lot of people still think it says, crash up ahead, and they're trying to...
Do you remember early this week when there was a kindergarten kid missing on the west side in a school, and it turned out he had wandered into a fourth grade classroom?
Yeah, he was in the wrong place, right.
I watched all the TV news coverage of that, right, because it was, I don't know, it wasn't an Amber Alert, but it was...
No, it started about 9 in the morning, and by the 11 o'clock news in the morning, it was the top story, and then it was over at 1. And
they had sent cops out. They showed cops going door to door looking for this kid. And this is when I've realized that there's oversaturation now with the missing children stuff. We've gone right off. Last summer it was the sharks, remember?
Yeah.
It was the sharks. Now this year...
And years ago it was the school shootings.
Now we've gone from covering legitimate major stories like the Westerfield case into covering a kid who wandered into the wrong classroom on, I guess it was the first day of school last week.
I'm thinking it must be the ratings come back and it tells them that the audience spikes when they do these stories. What else could it be?
Women love that stuff,
Especially daytime TV.
Daytime TV is oriented towards women, so you got a missing kid, and my wife was saying, "Oh my God, you believe it in other boys?"
So I sit there and think, isn't it more important to find out if they're grabbing any sleeper terrorist cell guys around the country? That's important to me.
This is why September 11th happened, is because while the Al Qaeda guys were plotting to kill us all last summer, we were obsessed with shark attacks, remember?
And Condit.
Well, at least so were we. Yeah. At least,
Condit was the big story, too, last year.
Right. But we don't do a news show here. Those other people are paid to cover news and investigate news.
Okay. So they have to unearth these terrorist cells.
All right. So this kid wandered into the fourth grade classroom. What I noticed in the television reports is nobody said anything critical about the idiots at the school. First of all, the kindergarten teacher who had lost the child to begin with, and then the fourth grade teacher who didn't notice that there was a kid way too young sitting in her class.
Apparently he was big for his age. He kind of fit in.
Oh, that big?
Well, I know. He's 5 and he's supposed to be 9.
And they showed the parents holding each other crying, and it's all immigrant kids, all Hispanic kids. And they show the police going door to door, and it's such a happy ending. Oh, the terror that the parents felt. It's like nobody. I just don't understand. Did anybody search the school? Because they ran down the block, knocking on everybody's door. But did anybody search the school? Because he was missing for several hours. And I guess just sitting in the other classroom. Nobody went into the other classroom. Well, what was going on there? What was with the police and what was with the school administrators? Do the obvious. Maybe it's first day of school or thereabouts, and he just wandered off aimlessly.
Or could it be that in their minds the obvious is what's been on the news all over the place lately, that he must have been abducted?
This is where everyone
jump right to that conclusion because it's happening everywhere.
Yeah, not what's most likely, what's least likely. What's least likely is somebody kidnapped him. No, what's most likely is he wandered down the wrong hall. He has no idea where he is to begin with. He doesn't know.
Well, plus, if you get both the parents in there, then you realize, all right, it's not a custody abduction, so we take care of that one.
This is what I said. They showed the parents like holding each other in shock and horror, but they didn't go search the classrooms either. He was just sitting there. Again, what do you want from a Los Angeles public school? I mean, this is what you get. Kid could wander off, sit in another class for a couple of minutes, a couple hours, and nobody notices the difference.
Well, speaking of the children, you probably know that we have a bicycle helmet law in the state of California, but now guess what's coming? The skateboard helmet law. There is legislation that is on its way to the governor. Children who ride skateboards or who skate or scooter would be required to wear helmets. Anybody under 18. Roller skating, skateboarding, operating non-motorized scooters in public would have to wear the helmet. $25 fine. It's a lot for a kid.
This report irritates me because they talk about this helmet idea, and then the last paragraph, nationwide, 86,800 skateboarders were treated in hospital emergency rooms in the year 2000. Almost 100,000 scooter riders were treated last year. Well, most of that is probably for...
not brain problems?
Yeah, not brain problems.
For elbows and knees?
Elbows and knees and,
So we should require them to wear paddings and uniforms.
This is what I mean. They attach a statistic which is supposed to support the idea of wearing a helmet, but the statistic is absurd. because I can assure you that 186,000 kids were not taken to emergency rooms for brain injuries, because most kids know how to stick their hands out to break the fall. So what they probably have done is broken their wrist or their fingers or their arm.
But you told me before that most kids they ignore the bicycle helmet law?
I read a study the other day, and I'm not making this up, that only 14% of kids wear bicycle helmets. And
that surprised me, although I don't really check. I thought it was more like 50%.
I have a feeling out in the real world, beyond the west side of L.A., that most of the kids just act like kids still. I think in probably certain areas where the parents are a little overly stressed and overly involved in their children's lives. Yeah, they have them wrapped in bubble wrap.
They look like the Michelin Man.
Yes, right. They have bubble wrap from head to toe.
Yes, Terry Ray.
My kids never leave the garage without the helmets, no matter what they've got. The scooters, the
She's the West Side mom.
My sister's kids who live in the boondocks in Wisconsin don't even own a helmet.
Well, there you go. That's right.
They still live like free Americans up there in the Midwest.
Real America is east of here. This is not real America here.
Although, Terry Ray, you might see them as sort of uneducated and rural, wouldn't you? That they don't protect their children.
Is that what you're calling your sister?
That's the opposite viewpoint of the people that don't put the helmets on their kids. That they're just ignorant.
Yeah, dumb hick is what you're calling your
sister.
Get her on the line. Get her sister on the line. All right.
Do you put anything else on him besides a helmet, like knee pads or anything?
The boy, yeah, because he's kind of uncoordinated.
Oh.
Well, the way you learn.
And this is true for skateboarding, too, and rollerblading and all that?
No, what you're
ahead of the law.
The way your son is going to learn is by letting him fall and, break a bone, and then he's going to get coordinated.
He's already done that.
You bubble wrap him, it's never going to be a problem.
So is your 7-year-old riding a bike yet?
Yeah, he is.
Does he have a helmet?
Yeah, he is. My wife goes nuts about it.
All right.
So I want to fight.
John, when they start recognizing your face in the emergency room, you know.
Somebody said.
Time to go with the bubble wrap.
But I like to draw that old line. Somehow we all survived.
Yeah.
Well, I never wore any helmets.
Apparently a few of us didn't.
You even played tackle football without helmets. No padding, nothing.
In the street, we played tackle football on the pavement without helmets. Okay,
we played touch in the street. We weren't that dumb. We weren't in your trailer park. I can't believe you played tackle in the street. Now, you must have had a lot of injuries. Your knees would get all ripped up in the pavement.
That was a joke.
Oh, I thought you were serious. I am getting carried away. No, but we did. We played in the green, in the grass, but we definitely played tackle without any helmets or pads.
It's the good old days.
There were some injuries, but nobody got really.
This is really a sissy country, isn't it? It's becoming more like Sweden every day.
Yeah, the third world doesn't worry about helmets, do they?
No. They don't even have bikes to fall off on.
All right, if you got anything to say about this, our phone number is for Orange County and everywhere. 1-800-520-1KFI. L.A. County 5201-KFI.
The John and Ken Show on KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio.
When news breaks,
great decisions and challenges lie ahead of us. Yet we can and we will build a safer and better world beyond the war on terror.
KFI gets it on.
We'll not simply look away, hope for the best, and leave the matter for some future administration to resolve.
news on the hour, on the hash, and when it breaks. KFI, AM 640. More stimulating talk radio. KFI, AM 640.
John and Ken Show, John Cobell and Ken Champeau, 349. Coming up after 4 o'clock, we're going to talk to a mom who witnessed her son getting sentenced to 10 years in prison for a relatively minor theft.
Six-pack of beer, and then he tried to escape and did escape the police vehicle that was holding him. So for that, a judge gave him 10 years, and she's just stunned, and we're going to talk to her after 4. Maybe you think they got what's coming. And by the way, after 5 o'clock, boy, we got to get into something that's pretty important. You know, there still is no budget in the legislature for the state of California, and there is a new attempt to triple your car tax. You wouldn't believe the trick they're trying to pull on this one. These are the Democrats. We're going to talk about it after 5 o'clock, how they're going to get this car tax through without getting, like, the usual two-thirds vote from the legislature. So they can't get that. There's enough Republicans to block that.
Alert your friends to be around at 5 o'clock because you might have to run to the barricades again to stop the car tax. They are pulling an evil trick again.
The phone tree.
All right, so we were talking about this. We got a helmet law for bicycles in the state, and now some nanny named Jack O'Connell
from Santa Barbara,
another Democrat for Santa Barbara.
Everyone under 18, if you're roller skating, skateboarding, or operating non-motorized scooters,
how about
have to wear a helmet.
How about if you're running? I mean, you could trip and hit your head.
Oh,
shouldn't everybody who runs?
Well, we're talking about the children.
Yeah, well, kids, any kid who
Adults
runs.
don't have to wear helmets except for the motorcycle people.
I think everybody
still fighting.
I think we should all wear a helmet at all times. Everybody should wear a helmet in the bathtub. You know how many bathroom accidents there are? More old people die in their bathtubs because they slip and fall and they bang their head.
Well, they need to wear a hip helmet.
A hip helmet too. Look at all the broken
hips and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Old people should have helmets on 24 hours a day.
Sherman Block would still be alive today if he had a helmet law for the bathtub.
Chick Hearn too.
Oh, well, he was dragging a planter.
Right, but I mean, old people need helmets on 24 hours a day. That's you know how many lives are that?
Protecting the young, why not protect the elderly?
Mark in Mission Viejo, you're on the John and Ken Show on KFI. Mark, you there?
No. All right, start over.
Hello?
Yes, you're on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say they should keep the helmets on the little kids in the yellow school bus. You know, where they going to draw the line? I have a 12-year-old son, and I insist he doesn't wear a helmet. Told him if he ever gets in trouble, I'll take care of it.
He doesn't wear a bike helmet?
No.
Now you're going to have more. Does he rollerblade or anything, or skateboard?
Well, he rollerblades, he skateboards, he's got a scooter.
He's going to get a fine sooner or later.
What was your, what did you say
about... Take care of it. It's ridiculous.
Mark, what did you say about a school bus?
We keep the helmets on the little kids in the school bus.
They don't even have seatbelts in school.
No, that was a big debate whether or not to put seatbelts in the school buses. I don't know how that resolved. That was around a long time.
Now that would make sense, but they don't do that.
Because there was a fear that they'd have trouble escaping if
Oh, by the way, if your kid is caught without a helmet, you'll be fined $25. The money would go towards safety education.
Oh, read the second part of it.
And purchasing helmets for low-income youths.
Isn't that nice? Because there's going to be some families who say helmets are too expensive.
You know what another fear is, and I've run into two people lately with this fear. And it may be why some put the helmets on their kids, even though they think it's stupid. There's a lot of parents are afraid that if they take their kid to an emergency room, they're going to be charged with child abuse. I know somebody who has a little kid, and the little kid, I guess, is just clumsy, and they've broken bones 2 or 3 times, like 3 times.
That's what they say.
Right. So the mom has taken the kid to a different emergency room each time because she's afraid that if she shows up at the same emergency room the 3rd time with a broken bone, it's child services time, and you're going to have to deal with the fat lady accusing you of abusing your kid.
So you believe this mom? You don't think she's beating the kid?
Oh, no, she's not. She's not. And
he'll be the first guy on the news after the kid is killed saying, I can't believe it. I never would have done it.
And then I ran into another mom, wife of a friend of mine, and their kid had some sort of accident. They had to take him to the emergency room, and the doctor there immediately wanted the entire kid's body X-rayed to see if there were any other broken bones. And if they found another crack, another healed crack in any of the other bones, then it's the fat lady from Child Services. Here she comes waddling over to take your kid away. And parents are
fat. You're talking about the airport screeners. Now you got
all the same crap. And this is a real fear that when you have legitimate injuries, that the kids are just running around and they have a bad luck and they break their arm. The parents are afraid to go to the emergency room because they're afraid they're going to be accused.
Yeah, well.
Let's go to Dave in Riverside. You're on the John and Ken Show on KFI.
Hey, guys. I was just wondering if you had taken into consideration the possibility of the lobbyists or PACs for these manufacturers influencing this at all.
The helmet manufacturers are in there with money.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure there's broad money behind all this.
So are they an organized force, the helmet lobby?
Sure.
Check
Greg Davis.
When we come back, we're going to talk to an angry mom, a shocked mom in Florida, whose 16-year-old